First up, if I look tired or disheveled, it's because it's 6:30 in the morning. And I got up really early for work. And realized my video did not upload because apparently it would not accept a 10-minute and 22-second video. So I have to redo it. So this is UFC Post 85 Bedlam. Had a horrible night of picks at 4-7. That being said, I don't know if all the picks were wrong. Like, 2 of my wins I don't think were right picks. The fighter won, but the way they won was entirely not the way I picked. A couple people let down, and a couple freak events that I don't think anyone predicted. Pertaining to Kevin Burns and Carero in particular, is the one I'm thinking of. Some bad judging decisions, and not judging decisions, but refereeing decisions by Verdom, normally a decent, at least consistent ref, and Dan Bergiotta, who I'm developing a strong disliking to whenever he referees a fight, because you don't know what you'll get. We'll get into that later. The 3 fights that were not shown were Anthony Hardrock TKOing Eddie Sanchez, Paul Taylor taking a split decision over Jesse Verdom, and a fight that I kind of wish they had shown, because it got submission tonight. Kevin Burns tapping out a black belt, Carero, with a triangle choke. Kevin Burns is a blue belt. You don't see that much unless the blue belt is a lot bigger. And it's not even like it's a renowned blue belt. And Carero is a very highly skilled black belt. I mean, he's a very legitimate black belt, but I don't know. Sometimes he just seems to sometimes give up. I mean, I kind of have to see the entire fight before I make full comment. It did look like a tight triangle, but getting caught by a blue belt in a tight triangle when you're a black belt is still not a good thing. But this is the second black belt in a while that's been tapped out. Pellegrino got tapped by Nate Diaz. So, moving on, it was a triangle choke both times. Moving on, the first fight that we got to see, although not the first fight that we saw, was Louis Arthur Kane, Jason Lambert. I had Lambert. Kane really impressed me. Like, the one thing I thought he was always lacking was wrestling, because he was a decent ground gamer and he was an excellent striker. He showed the excellent striking. He showed, however, that he is very hard to take down, which is something he had not shown before. Lambert's wrestling is not amongst the elite of 205. That being said, is very good, and he came nowhere near getting a takedown. So I kind of now start to expect some big things from Luis Kane. We'll see if this was flash and pan or if this is a regular thing. I mean, Lambert didn't look at his best, but still, this fight kind of showed a lot of things that he could possibly be a threat. A lot of fighters he could be possibly a threat to. I don't know, but I'm not saying title contention or anything, but definitely a guy who can be in the mix. Next fight we saw was, in chronological order, not in the order we saw it, was Matt Wyman and Thiago Tavares. This was going the way I thought it was going to go, except it was a lot closer. Wyman looked incredibly good. Like, he really impressed me, and Tavares was looking good. The ground exchanges were beautiful if you understand the ground game. Honestly, possibly even if you don't. But it was just that kind of fight. Tavares, in the end, he just got caught, and he was winning the fight up until that point. He was, I think, marginally winning the stand-up. I think he was winning on the ground because he had a couple of very close submissions. But Wyman, this is the first time I think I've actually been impressed with Matt Wyman, and that's a little scary because I've always been a big kind of frowner on Matt Wyman. But this fight really made me start to look at him. He's not skilled enough yet, but if he can get, like, he passed the plateau with this fight. If he can pass the next plateau, he's a dangerous fighter. Not to, like, again, not title contention, but it's a lot like Louis Arthur Kane. He can be in the mix. Martin Campman, we saw this fight near the end, I think. I'm not sure now, but he submitted George Rivera with a guillotine. I had Campman. This was one of the 2 wins. The other one was Harndog, but I'm not really going to go into details since I see the Harndog fight. Campman, I had, stopping the strikes. Georgie's got a somewhat questioned chin, and Campman's an excellent striker, but Campman keeps showing once again that he really is well-rounded, and is a really good fighter. If he wasn't, he's still very small at the weight class. He got bigger during his time off, but I think that'll probably go away actually, because when you're injured, I mean, you pack on a little extra. You know, he looked a little not fat, but a little more meat on him. He submitted him. He just outclassed Georgie on the ground, which is not that great of an achievement considering Georgie, but it was a good return for Martin Campman. It's definitely he's picking up somewhere near he left off, which is good to see. Fabricio Verdom, Brandon Vera, and begins the Dan Miragliotta crap. Verdom mounts Vera at the end of a somewhat dominant first round. He did, when he really wanted to, he took down Vera, which was good to see. I think he was on his way to a win. And he was outclassing Vera on the ground, which Verdom should do with any UFC heavyweight, with the exceptions of Nogue and maybe Frank Mir. But aside from those two, I mean, Verdom is just on a different level, because now that they've gotten rid of Papa Cruz particularly. He mounts Vera and he starts landing some shots that are answers, but you can see Vera still defending. Now, this was not necessarily a bad stoppage, don't get me wrong. I actually like the stoppage. It's just that it's Dan Miragliotta, who of course refereed the Kimbo versus James Thompson fight, and it was a worse situation that James Thompson had Kimbo in. He was landing repeatedly, completely undefended elbows to the head, and he did not stop the fight then. And it was for a good 20 seconds. And this was much the same, and Vera was defending, not terribly well, but he was trying to defend, and it didn't look like he was any more damaged. Like, there was no swelling, there was no nothing. I mean, seriously, if you think about it, James Thompson should hit a lot harder than Verdom. Just simple physics. But he stopped the fight, and that's Dan Miragliotta for you. Thales latest wins a split decision over Nathan Marquart, which, let me put it this way, Marquart lost 2 points and lost a split decision. Yeah. And one was bullshit. He was called for an elbow to the back of the head when he elbowed latest in the ear. Let me put it this way. If a guy, I can't demonstrate the position without someone else, but if a guy has you in the position that Marquart had latest in, the only way to get elbowed in the back of the head is if you turn the back of your head like this and let it, what would normally hit here, hit here. I don't even know if you should be called for that if you do that, because that's stupid. There's no reason to turn your head like that unless you want to get the stand up through that. And Latest didn't do that. He got hit in the ear, and I think he even admitted it. I'm not entirely sure, but that was bullshit. I should have got the win. Because, I mean, Marquardt still won one on one of the judges' scorecards. The other one was for a knee-to-a-down opponent, which, yes, I respect that one. That was a point deduction. Herb Dean, your one hiccup for the night, it was a big one. That's the only reason I'm harping on it. Mike Swick takes a UD over Marcus Davis. He got to the point for grabbing the cage in the third round, which I thought was right. Swick showed excellent takedown defense. Marcus Davis is not that great of a wrestler. I'd like to see him against a guy who's consistently able to take people down. And the problem is, there's about 4 guys in the division that do that, and he trains with 2 of them. Yeah, I think I probably should have expected better takedown defense. On the feet, I think Davis marginally won. Marginally. Because I thought, despite the fact that Joe Rogan saying he was using the clinch very well, I personally didn't think he was. Davis was actually landing more knees and more shots in the clinch than Mike Swick, which is not good. And when Davis was in range, he was a lot more effective with his punches. Swick's high kicks landed very infrequently. Had they landed more, I would have given him the striking. But I mean, Swick won the ground game. He was on top. He didn't really punish Davis that much. He did cut him open, but the thing you'll notice with ex-pro boxers, I mean, they will bleed a lot. They have a lot of scar tissue, that was pointed out. And but he did show some good defense on the ground, but still, a totally good decision, even though I picked Davis. Michael Bisping completely wrecked Jason Day. The stand-up was somewhat even, but Bisping actually took him down. This shows maybe Bisping has some wrestling now, and he just pounded away at him. This was another one. Dan Miragliotta let this fight go a lot longer than the Verdom Vera stoppage, which was very quick. Which, I mean, And I mean, this was the same thing. Day was using pretty much the identical defense. So, once again, Dan Maragliano, please don't ref anymore. UFC, please don't. Please. Thiago Alves and Matt Hughes. Matt Hughes had a hard time taking him down. Matt Hughes, I think, is just honestly at the end. I think, A, he's too confident in his ground skills because he tried pulling guard a couple times on Alves, and you can't do that with Alves on top of you. And 2, his shots did not look so good. Mark Hughes has suggested that he may be down, and I think he's right. Flying knee KO for Alves looks good. Alves moves up the ladder. Damn, this is long again, but hopefully it'll upload.